If you've been thinking about giving back through your business, but you just haven't started doing it yet, this one's for you. I'm Nikki Elledge Brown, the communication stylist, and in this video, I'm going to break it down into two very simple steps so that we can get rid of all the excuses and just start giving. So that's fair warning. Do not watch this video if you're not ready to actually start using your business to give back to organizations you believe in. A little bit of background on why I'm passionate about this is because I've been giving back through my business from the beginning and even a little bit before then. And I'll post a link to the story below. But basically, at the beginning of 2013, right around the time when I was getting inspired to start my business, my husband and I realized that we finally had to sell Black Beauty, which was my first car, my 98 Jeep Grand Cherokee with over 100,000 miles. That baby drove me to my dance classes, dance practices in high school, to our high school graduation. I drove it back and forth to college. Then we shipped her across the ocean so that she could be with us in Hawaii, brought Bryson home from the hospital, but we just knew it was time to sell. And I'm not one to be super attached to things, but I knew a cash transaction just wasn't going to work out for me. It just wasn't enough. I decided it felt better to think of donating what we made from the sale of Black Beauty. And that's what we did. And because I'm a pretty darn good copywriter, if I do say so myself, not only did we get exact asking price, the full asking price, through a Craigslist ad. That asking price was even more than the excellent condition Kelley Blue Book recommended price. Again, thank you, copy skills, but also it was just such a God thing, because when does that ever happen, that people just don't negotiate? Also, legitimately, the Jeep was in great shape. But what we did was we decided to give some of that money to build a well through this organization called Hold in Uganda, which is now called John 414 Foundation. But either way, I'm sharing that with you now before I share these tips to let you know that's back before I even started my business. So again, that was back before I had any commas in my paychecks. That was back before I had any dreams of anything big happening with my business, and still had a lot of limiting beliefs floating around inside my head, but I just knew it was going to feel good to give. And so before I even get into the tips, I just want to let you know, you don't have to be making 5 figures. You don't have to be making 4 figures. You don't have to be making 6 or 7 figures. You already have enough to give. So that's a reality check for you. So don't listen to this video and think, well, yeah, Nikki, now you're making XYZ every year. No, because we decided to give from the beginning and even before the beginning, because that's what we felt called to do. So this video is truly for you if you have that little tug on your heart where you feel like, okay, I really do have more than enough of what I need. It's time for me to give, because money comes in and money goes out, and that's kind of a mindset thing that you have to have. It can be scary to commit to giving, but it is so worthwhile. So that's what we're going to talk about. The first step, I like breaking things into simple, easy steps. The first step is to decide. It's just that simple. It's a decision. So decide that you're going to give, decide how much you're going to give, and decide to which organization or organizations you're going to give. Once you've made that initial decision, it's okay if you change your mind. If you decide you want to do 5% or maybe you want to do 10%, is that going to be of your gross revenue, or is it going to be of your profits, or is it going to be of your salary that you take home? That's totally up to you, and it has to feel right. I'm not trying to set off any scarcity alarms and make you uncomfortable, but I am just challenging you to think. If you know that you feel called to give, because you honestly know when you take a look at what you've got more than enough. And again, before I started my business, I knew we're fine. We're great. We have more than enough of what we need. Everything that I would make from my business is frosting on the cake. And we all know the frosting is the best part of the cake. So you've got to decide, commit that you're going to do it, decide how much, and then decide to which organizations you're going to give. So I recommend checking out sites like Charity Navigator so that you make sure that you're doing your research, doing your due diligence to make sure you're giving to an organization that's going to be a good steward of what you are giving them, of course. And so that's what I did. At the time, Hold in Uganda was run by friends of friends that we knew personally, and so I knew they were going to take great care of the money and that everything would be good. You don't have to know people personally. That's what sites like Charity Navigator are for, but still, it's good to do your research. So that's the first half, to decide. Okay. The other thing there is you can totally change your mind. Again, if after a while 5% just doesn't feel like enough, or maybe 10%, and then you're getting a little scarcity pants, that's fine too. Don't just stop giving, just scale it back a little bit. So know that it can change. Know that you can change your mind with, if you start off with one particular organization, then another one feels more relevant to you. That's okay too. Again, you just made the decision to commit to giving, and that's the most important step. So deciding is step one. Step two, do it. Again, it can be that simple. So within do it, the do it umbrella includes doing your work. So using this new inspiration as fuel to your fire. When I reopened A Course About Copy last summer at the end of the year, it was so exciting to me to know if we add 100 students, if we have $100,000 and 10% of that is $10,000, we're going to finish funding this school. Oh, I need to rewind a little bit. So we funded the first well with the car. And then this is, again, so crazy to me. But when I started my business, I was like, okay, should I get 5 or 10%? 5 or 10%? We decided to do 10. And I thought it was going to take me a year to make $22,000 in my business. Instead, it took 2 months. 2 months. So June 11th, 2013, Bryson and I were putting a check in the mail to Holden, Uganda for the first fully funded from my business well. It was amazing. Again, total divine confirmation that I was on the right path and doing what I was created to do. And I was hooked. So by the end of 2013, we had funded 3 wells, and I decided, hey, I feel like we're supposed to do something bigger, really big, like fund an entire school. And so I had seen Lewis Howes talking about Pencils of Promise, and I reached out to him, and then he introduced me to Adam Braun, the founder of this organization called Pencils of Promise. So I spoke with Adam in January 2014. He sent me an advanced copy of his book, which is amazing, and I'll link to that below too, because I did a whole video on his book, The Promise of a Pencil. But after doing my research and talking to him and reading his book and more about the story of Pencils of Promise, I knew, okay, cool, this is what we're doing. We're going to build a school with Pencils of Promise, and it was going to be a $25,000 commitment. Again, mind you, that was my take-home salary at any full-time job I had had since finishing my master's degree. So it felt like a huge stretch, but it was exciting. I let it drive me. So from that decision, then I decided to do the work. And so part of doing the work is letting it be exciting to you, but also if it feels right, get your clients and customers involved and let them know what you're doing. Commit publicly out loud so that people can hold you to it and get excited. I had people who weren't just my clients and customers who were pitching into our Pencils of Promise fundraiser just because they wanted to be part of it. So even if they weren't my customers, they were still giving. And that was such an amazing, incredible feeling. And so again, back to August of 2014, we finished funding the school. It was the craziest feeling. I called my parents and I was like ugly crying. They couldn't see me, but they could hear me and just going, and they thought something was wrong. And they were like, are you okay? Is everyone okay? And I'm like, we did it. Because my parents even pitched in too. It was just so great. It was such an amazing feeling. I can't explain it to you. I was so excited to share that news with my A Course About Copy family. And the coolest thing of all of that was that they finished constructing the school in February of 2015, which was exactly a year after I first launched the first pancake version of A Course About Copy. It was so amazing, and I finally got pictures over the summer, and I just didn't know when would be the right time to share it with you, but I'm sharing it with you now because I just have a feeling that you're out there thinking, what could I do, what could I do, what could I do? And I just want to encourage you because, again, it doesn't need to be a full-on school, or maybe it is a school, but you pair up with your whole community and you make it like a concerted effort, like Pat Flynn. I love how he did it, and they raised money like in a week, and then he matched it. And I'm thinking I probably should have done something like that because then we could have leveraged it more and built 2 schools, and maybe we'll do that next time. But anyway, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You just have to do it. So to review our steps here. Number 1, decide. Decide that you want to give back. And, giving doesn't have to be money. It can be time. It can be supplies. It can be prayers. I used to give a lot of my time when I was in high school and college, but with the lifestyle that we have right now, military, out in the middle of the ocean, little one in utero, it's just easier for me to give money at this stage of my life, and so that's what I'm doing. So that's why I'm talking about money in this context, but giving doesn't necessarily have to be money. But again, I'm just saying, you have enough to give. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, but it can be something. So decide, decide to do it, decide how much, decide to which organizations you're going to give, and then part 2 is do it. Do your work, get people involved, and then the last piece of it is work with your accountant to figure out, what kind of deductions and stuff, because I think it depends. There's a certain threshold, at least in the US, of once you give a certain amount, then you can start deducting it, whatever. You can figure that out. Don't let it hold you back now. I'm just saying, do the work, give, do the work, give. It's really that simple. There's no excuse. So, on that note, just a sidebar, I wanted to say, if you've been one of the over 500 people who have done business with me in the last couple of years, whether you're a member of my 2013 Dream Team, my original Dreamies of my one-on-one clients, whether you're a member of A Course About Copy, the A Course About Copy family, or you're going to be, or you've bought Prep School, or you've bought the One Sentence Workbook, or maybe you're one of those folks who just decided to jump in and join us, I just want to say thank you so much. And I couldn't be happier or more humbled to share pictures of our school in Santa Marta with you. You'll see the best part of all of it, I swear, on the plaque that Pencils of Promise put up on the wall. And I agonized over how many characters and what should it say, But it says, dedicated to the dream students of Santa Marta, with love, from Nikki and the A Course About Copy family. And the best part of all of it is that there's totally a typo. And it says from with an E on the end of it. And they're totally going to fix it, but it doesn't matter. It's actually really funny and proof of my favorite saying, which is it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be shared. So on that note, I just want to say thank you so much. And I just want to encourage you, if you are this person that I felt tugged to create this video for, and you've been feeling like you want to bake giving back into your business model, do it. Check out my giving back page and how I explain my story and my heart for the giving that I've been doing. And again, know that you can change your mind eventually on how much or to where you're giving it. It's just about making that decision and actually doing it and following through. So in the comments below at nikkielledgebrown.com, I would love to hear from you. If you have some favorite organizations that you love to support and you want other people to know about them, leave a link below. If you have some other creative ways of giving that don't necessarily tie back to money, share those too, just so we can get and give ideas. And that's it. Again, thank you so much for being part of my journey and my business, whether you've actually been an actual customer or you're just hanging out and supporting. All of that has made all of this possible, and we're just getting started. So thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing week, and I'll talk to you next time. If you've got what you know is a great idea for a service, product, or program, but you're really just not making any money from it, I've got some ideas for you.